Man, it took me almost 6 months to find this amazing setup. 6 months! And now finally, we have the potential for a 200% return with this beautiful short-term trade. Now let's check this setup out coming up. If you're new to the channel, my name is Trey and I have over $545,000 invested in stocks, real estate, and crypto. If you enjoyed this content, please don't forget to click the like and subscribe button and check out many videos that I've posted on my channel, linked down in the description below. Now let's get started. Now guys, as I said before, this is a short-term setup. This is a not long-term investment, at least not yet. And why is that? Well, it's because the financials of this company are nowhere near worthy of a long-term investment. Now, let me just quickly summarize what this company is about. The name of the company is called Fisker. Its CEO and founder is Henrik FISKER. It's based in Austria. It's an electric vehicle company. It's a European electric vehicle company. Fun fact is that this company, the same exact company with the same exact owner, went bankrupt in 2014. And then supposedly Henrik and his wife came back in 2016 and said, we learned from our mistakes and we're going to try it again. We're going to try to make these electric vehicles again and do it better this time. Henrik FISKER is a billionaire. In 2021, he's worth $1.6 billion. So to me, the question is, if your company went bankrupt in 2014, how are you still a billionaire? There's something we're missing. But that does not concern us. So again, this is not a long-term investment just yet. In the near future, it might become a long-term investment because this is not a bad company by all means. It's just a new and small company. It went public in 2018 and it has no earnings, it has no profits, it has no free cash flow, it has a ton of debt. In fact, I will show you the balance sheet, the income statement, and the cash flow for this company, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. There's absolutely no cars on the road that are Fisker Ocean. Zero. They haven't made any cars. However, what I will show you on the balance sheets, the income statement, and the cash flow is that they took a huge amount of debt in 2021, and it is obvious that this debt was in order to actually make these electric vehicles. And in fact, in 2021, I believe there was over 40,000 pre-orders for these electric Fisker Ocean SUVs. None of them have been delivered. There's supply chain issues. So we're still waiting to see if they're going to deliver on these pre-order promises. So again, this company could go either way. It could go to zero or it could start skyrocketing. It's in a direct competition with Tesla. It could become the new Tesla. Who knows? However, as a long-term investment, not yet. As a short-term trade, definitely. Let's quickly take a look at the financial statements of the company here. The first things I want to show you real quick, because this is not important for a short-term trade, is the cash flow. As you can see here, just all the way on the bottom, they're bleeding cash, and this is in thousands. That means they're actually negative $435 million for 2021 so far. But take a look at this thing. Look at 2018, 2019, and 2020. Look at the free cash flow. They're bleeding, but they're bleeding very small amounts. Look at this crazy number in 2021. It literally almost like 11 or 12x times the amount of them losing cash. And that is likely because they spend money, they borrowed money for research and development and actually making these electric vehicles in order to deliver for the people who actually pre-ordered them, the whole 40,000 of them. Now let's quickly move on to the income statement here. The income statement is more of the same. Everything is pretty much negative. Gross profit, guys, gross profit is $18,000. That is literally what you pay taxes on, is gross profit. So Fisker paid taxes on $18,000 in 2021. That's less what I make in a year. So as you could see, that's how the business is run. And finally, the last thing that I want to show you guys real quick, and again, the final reason why this company is not a long-term investment just yet is the balance sheet. Now, the most important thing on the balance sheet, right, that I like to look at is long-term debt. This is the debt that the company took upon themselves. They probably borrowed money from a bank, again, in order to build these cars, in order to deliver on their pre-orders. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down and look at that total debt, $678 million. Again, before the company becomes a solid long-term investment, and I'm talking about 5 to 10 year period, we want to see a decrease in long-term debt or in total debt in general. Okay, guys, so now that we got it out of the way that this is not a long-term investment, at least in 2021, we will know more about this once the cars start being delivered in 2022, in the end of 2022, 2023, and 2024. And then we will see, hopefully these cars will have great reviews. Hopefully people will love them. Hopefully people will love the style. They will purchase these cars, and we will see, the company actually making some cash. And of course, the total debt has to decrease before I consider holding this thing for the long term. Now, what I'm concerned about in this video is short term. Now, when I say short term, it could be anywhere from 1 week until the end of 2022. This is, for me, is short term. So we're looking at about 1 week to a 7-month period that you might have to hold this company through many earnings, so to speak. So the next thing I want to do is, obviously, we're going to run off the technicals on this trade, because the fundamentals they just don't matter, and they don't support pretty much anything in this case. So here is the chart. And now, guys, before you say, well, how can you be so sure about this trade? Well, I actually traded this company once before, and I will show you my Robinhood trade so you know that I put my money where my mouth is. Now, I'm a long-term investor, therefore I don't day trade or swing trade often, but I do it for fun, and I do it with small amounts. Therefore, you will see that my previous trade was with Fisker was just $1,000. Now, this is my Robinhood account. Now, we've been bleeding bad. If you look at the old times, we're still up 43%. However, if you look at a 1-year performance, we're minus 11%. We're bleeding, but then everyone is bleeding. And remember, we're buying more for the long term. These are all my companies that I have invested in. However, we're going to scroll down here. I'm going to click on Fisker. So what I want to show you is that I put my money where my mouth is. So let's take a look at the history of the transactions. As you could see, in November of 2021, I sold about $1,500 worth of Fisker shares. Now we're going to click on show more, and we're going to scroll down. As we're going to see, I was averaging into this position all the way from April of 2021. So April and November is about 5 or 6 months apart. Therefore, again, this trade may go from as short as a week to as long as the end of 2022. So as you can see, I dollar cost averaged into this position. I bought a few shares at $14. I bought a few shares at $13.95, at $13.50, at $12, $11, and finally at $10. Then I waited, and I sold. So pretty much my total investment, the total amount of money that I put into the trade was $950, and I sold it for about $1,500. So I made a solid $550 on this trade. I know it's not a lot. I don't trade with thousands because I'm very skeptical of short-term trading. However, I do it because it is fun, and I test these technicals, my technical analysis that I do on these companies. So let's go to Fisker. So remember that I started buying in April of 2021. So where is this April of 2021? Here it is. So what happens, guys? whenever you look into technicals, you never want to pick one certain spot that you want to buy all the shares at, right? Because you don't know, the company may go a little bit lower or may not reach that point that you want to buy it. So you always want to give yourself a little room, and you want a dollar cost average up or down. So pretty much at this area right over here is where I started purchasing the shares. We started somewhere here, right here at $13, and we actually got our best entry was $10, so all the way down here. So you see, because I could averaged all the way down. Now I could have sold here. Okay, I could have sold here, but these were really, really hard to time. My technical analysis showed that I should probably sell somewhere around the $20 mark in that area, and I ended up selling right here. This is November, so pretty much I bought in here and I sold up here at around a $20 area. If you take a look at it, the average was probably somewhere here, and I'm gonna assume I sold not all the way at 20, but somewhere here, somewhere around 18, I would assume, somewhere, because you never get the exact numbers, guys. That's what I'm saying. Don't be fixated on numbers. You do you pick a number and then you go around that number, because the stocks are unpredictable. They go up and down, and you never know what's gonna happen. So you pick the number and then you start buying around that number. So I got a solid 66.5% return in just 6 or 7 months holding this. And that is the case. Now, I believe that the setup this time is much, much better. The Fisker today is at around $10, right? As you could see, guys, I'm going to draw a few lines for you. The first line, the most obvious line that I want to draw for you guys, the most obvious line I want to draw for you guys is this support line. And there's an obvious, really, really hard, strong, very resistant, very great. I love this. Look at this support line. Look at this support line. This dates back all the way to October 18th when the company went public. It barely ever dipped below $10. Sure, it dipped a little bit below 10 here, a little bit here, a few times here. But look at this, look at this support. It bounces off, goes up, bounces off, goes up, bounces off, goes up. It's just an amazing support line that has proved itself time and time again. Therefore, my entry point for this trade as of May 1st, 2022 is somewhere around $10, guys. I'm going to start buying at around $10.15, and then would probably, if it dips, if there's some sort of crazy news, or actually the earnings for this company are coming on May 4th. So if there's some sort of dip over there, I will buy that even lower. Now, I will have a $1,000 position. Therefore, I will not be throwing the entire $1,000 all at the same time. I will take $200 and I will make 5 entries. I will make one at 10.15, one at 10, and then we're gonna go a little bit below. Now, if the company doesn't go a little bit below, I will average up, right? Once I know that, hey, we're back, we're moving back up, we're confirmed that this is a reversal, or at least a short-term reversal, we're gonna buy some at 10.30, at 10.50, at 11. Okay, so now that we know our entry point is around $10, what about a stop loss? Guys, with a stock like this, no stop loss, all right? In this trade, you put the money that you could afford to lose. You're putting this money in, I'm putting this money in, knowingly that this might go to zero. I'll never see this $1,000 again. That's how we roll, okay? So, no stop loss. I don't care. If anything, I'll hold this forever, and if it goes to zero, I don't care. Now, let's take a look at the few exit points, right? So let's draw some lines again. So obviously the first one, the most recent ones, the newer resistance lines are just down here at $13.14. So we could go somewhere in between and just write this resistance line, even though this is not the resistance line that I will be looking at. So we're gonna draw a line here. We're gonna change this color to blue, just like that. So that's our first exit point is at around $14. Now, if at that point I have $1,000 invested, I will take a small amount. Okay, maybe I'll sell off 10 shares at that point. Okay, however, I don't necessarily like the resistance point. I think if we're in for the reversal, we're gonna go higher than that. Okay, now let me draw another one. Now these resistance lines, I'm starting to like a little bit more. Now let's draw the entire top right now. The highest Fisker has ever been is somewhere around $32 right there. So if by any chance, and this is a very slight chance that we'll go back up here in the short term, if we look at it, we get 213% return. If something happens and the stock, the earnings, someone likes the cars, they deliver on their promises, the cars are amazing, the batteries last a long time, we will triple our money. You understand? So again, this is very unlikely, but that is the maximum, right? That is a complete maximum. Now, let's look at more realistic options, right? So guys, remember, when you're drawing resistance lines, you want to connect as many points as you can, right? So this is only one time we touch this area. This is why this is an unlikely area that it will go to. However, I want to touch these peaks. Look at these peaks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you could consider these also as part of them, 5 and 6, right? Now, if I just draw it here, I'm touching a few, right? A few areas. But if I just go a little bit lower, somewhere right here, somewhere around the $20 area, look how often this area gets touched. You got 1, a couple of lines here, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll consider this as well, 6, 7, 8. So this is a very likely resistance point where the stock may again reverse. So guys, this is our true exit point, right, at around $20. Again, as I always do, I always take profits as I go up. When we touch 14, I'll take a little bit. When we touch 15, I'll take a little bit. When we touch 17, I'll take a little bit. When we touch 20, I'll take a little bit. And I always leave 10%, which means $100, and let it ride. Or let it ride down, right? So who knows, man? Maybe we're going to go to $32 and I still have skin in the game at that point. Again, so this is our exit point. We got 32, 20, 14. Entry point is anywhere around $10. And we have no stop loss. Now, guys, you say, wait, do you just trade based on support and resistance lines? Of course not, right? Doing it these days would be a complete craziness. So, what technical indicators do I like to use for this trade? Well, first of all, let's take a look at the 50-day moving average. This is this green line that you're seeing here. Again, you want to look at a 50-day moving average because sometimes, not always, this 50-day moving average acts as a support or resistance. In this case, as you can see over here, it was acting as support as it was going up. It was, where was it? It was acting as resistance right over here. But other than that, nothing really jumps out at you. So it is safe to say we could possibly ignore the 50-day moving average at this point. However, some traders say that once the price of the stock jumps above the 50-day moving average, it's a bullish sign. So if we see Fisker jump above $12 per share, that is a bullish sign saying that it'll probably reach $14. That's one way you could use the 50-day moving average. Now let's take a look at a 200-day moving average, which is what I like because my trades last from a week all the way up to almost like a year, right? As we said before. So let's take a look at that. Now, so this is this red line that you're seeing. Again, recently this 200-day moving average acted as a resistance at around a $14 to $15 area. So again, you may take it in terms of an exit point here at around $14, or you could say, hey, once the price of the stock crosses the 200-day moving average, it's a very bullish momentum, right? Like, look at over here. Over here, Fisker was kind of going sideways, and then it just popped right out of the 200-day moving average, and then it reached all the way up to $23, which is our exit point. Again, over here, if it went above the 200-day moving average, it went all the way to $20, right? So again, 200-day moving average, you could use it as a small exit point, but more often not, you want to use it as a sign of strength or as a sign of weakness, because once the price here went below 200-day moving average, it went all the way down to $10. It went below 200-day moving average, it went all the way down to $10. So that is the best way to use these moving averages in this case. Now, one of the other things that I really like to use is a stop and reverse. When can you use the stop and reverse indicator? So here, I'm just going to turn it on. And these are what these dots are. Now, guys, this is not the same as an RSI, relative strength index, but it pretty much prints a dot whenever the stock is either overbought or oversold and the momentum is about to change, right? So you cannot use those. I see a lot of traders on YouTube using relative strength index and a stop and reverse indicator with momentum and growth stocks. But the problem with that is that these indicators only work on a range-bound stock. What is a range-bound stock? It's a stock that bounces between certain prices over many, it could be months or years, right? So you cannot use it if the stock goes up all the time, like growth and momentum stocks, because it will always be overbought. If the stock is always going up, the indicator will always show you that it's overbought, and it's time for you to short the stock. So again, the only times you could use stop and reverse and RSIs are in a range-bound stock. And as you can see on this is a range-bound stock, right? You could literally let me draw another two lines here, right? I'm just gonna pretty much just like grab this and I'm gonna make it red so we can look at the two red lines here. The stock bounces between the $10 mark and about the $20 mark or $22 mark. So we could say that this stock, Fisker, is a range-bound stock that goes between the $10 and $20 per share. And we could use that to our advantage, right? Because it did this since July 2020. And we're almost in July of 2022. So for 2 years, it has been a range-bound stock. And that is why I like this setup. It has very strong support line. It has a very strong resistance line, and it's range-bound. As you could see, these dots, stop and reverse, they indicate when the stock is about to go in the opposite direction, and they print a point. So you buy here, and then you sell when it prints the other point. You buy here. Now, with the stop and reverse, you miss most of the large movements. But in these cases, you would make at least some profit if you were to use the stop and reverse, a stop and reverse indicator with this chart. So it goes from here to here, big lines. We have a big uptrend here, downtrend, uptrend, downtrend. What you want to avoid is the stocks that do this. And Fisker did this for a little bit. It's a small uptrend, small downtrend. Stop and reverse doesn't work like that. You want to see a stock that has over numerous months or years have given you really long downtrend, long uptrend, long downtrend, and so on. Look at this. If you were to buy it here, look, you would have made all the way down here. Okay, so let's just zoom in on this a little bit. So what we have is a relatively long downtrend here. Now, you can also say that Fisker has been going sideways, well, since about this point, since January of 2020, so about 5 months now, it's been going sideways. It's been bouncing, boom, 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 right? So that's what one of our exit points is $14. Okay, and finally, The other thing that I like to use, again, only with range-bound stocks, is the Bollinger Band indicator with 2 standard deviations and an 80-day moving average as the middle line. So there you go. There are your Bollinger Bands, right? As you could see, when the Bollinger Bands start to constrict here, these black lines are starting to get smaller. That means there's less volatility in this stock. And as you can see, whenever the Bollinger Band shrinks, see this distance here is much smaller than this distance here. We see a big move up. This distance here, it's very small, move up. And what we're seeing here is the shrinkage of the Bollinger Bands, right? In general, sometimes what you could say is that the bottom Bollinger Bands act as a buying point, as a sort of support, right? So you could see maybe you put a buy-in order for $9.25 as well, because that's where the Bollinger Band is. So again, look how all these indicators are just lining up together. And again, nothing may happen. You know, the stock may keep on selling off or it's going to keep on going sideways. Who knows? But when multiple indicators indicate a buying opportunity in a range-bound stock like this, it is usually a good sign that you should look at the stock and maybe put some buy-in orders in. So again, Bollinger Band, a beautiful long-term 3 years old or even more support line here that's, you know, after each time it hit that, it bounced back up. So again, these are the indicators that I use. I think this trade will at least get us to $14. Now let's take a look. What is this, right? If I buy in at 10, let's put 10, and I sell at 14. Let's take a look. 14. Here we go. 14. It's a 40% return, guys. Even if we only get to the most recent resistance line, it's still a 40% return, right? And if we go all the way to, 20, it's about 100% return. So you will double your money, and I will double my money. I will go from 1,000 to 2,000. And if it gets completely out of control and there's just some really nice earnings, maybe forward guidance is beautiful during their stock earnings report May 4th. Guys, remember, do not try to trade on the earnings day. All right? So what you want to do is what I'm going to do is I want to get in a little bit before the earnings, see what's going on with earnings, and get in a little bit after the earnings, right? Now, if we go all the way up, let me see here. We go all the way from 10, all the way up, we're looking at a 215% return. So that's what it is, guys. That is my analysis. Once again, I'm an investor. I don't trade often. I trade for fun. But when I find a really convincing opportunity where multiple indicators are showing a buy opportunity, I mean, I can even, let's put an RSI on here, right? Let's put an RSI. Like, let's do it. Like, might as well, right? Let's leave this here. We're gonna do 200% here, and let's put an RSI, right? Let's see what RSI is saying. Relative Strength Index, right? Let's put it. Look at this, guys. So RSI now here is on the bottom. Let me just how do I show this to you guys? Let me move the camera. I'm just gonna move it here. Yeah, you don't really need to see that. All right, so I moved the camera. Now look at the RSI, right? RSI is clearly stating we're about to be oversold, right? Maybe not yet, but we're about to be oversold. And again, every time, look at here, it got oversold, and then we got a little jump up to 14, right? Let's take a look here. We got oversold. We actually went down. We got oversold again. okay? And then we just popped off right here, right? Again, let's look at this right here. We're oversold, we're right here, and then we went up. Now remember, all these indicators are lagging indicators. That means, it's easy to look at something already happened and put some numbers together and say, well, if you would have done this. However, a lot of indicators here are just lining up. This is just this beautiful, beautiful chart. Let me just do it like this so you guys could see this beautiful, beautiful chart. Look at this beautiful buying opportunity, the Bollinger Bands, the support lines, the RSI. I mean, there's other indicators that would scream buy for this. All right. And, and I'm going in with $1,000. I'm gonna do 5 different buys, $200 each on 5 different days. Now guys, anything in this video is not a financial advice. It's for educational and entertainment purposes only. So make sure you do your own research before you decide to take this trade or not. And always never trade with the money that you can't afford to lose 100% of the time. I just want to summarize here. One final time, I just want to summarize everything. RSI is very close to being oversold. Really good buying signal. The Bollinger Band is very close to this support line of $10. And every time Fisker touched $10, it literally had an upswing in the near term. And again, we're in a range-bound stock, and a stop and reverse here is also about to print a dot for a reversal. I hope you enjoyed this video. Guys, remember, nothing in this video is a financial advice. Contact your financial advisor if you need any help managing your money. I am not a financial advisor. Do your own research. This is only for educational, entertainment purposes only, and never ever invest or trade with the money that you can't afford to lose 100% of the time. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your comments down below. If you agree with my analysis, if you don't agree with my analysis, let me know, man. I always want to learn from other traders, from other investors, what's their opinion and what is their plan to trade. And if you are into Fisker, let me know what you think about the company long term, because financials right now are definitely underwhelming to say the least. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button. Check out my investment videos. I'm gonna link a playlist down in the description below. I do a lot of real estate investing with Fundrise. If you want to diversify your portfolio into real estate, which had, by the way, Fundrise had crazy returns in 2021, over I think 29%. It was amazing. Check out that playlist down in the description below. Check it out and let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Oh, and remember, the earnings for Fisker is May 4th. Beware. Peace.